Sanje Chedon Soji Shunamla, Janjo Bordo Dani Japson Chen, Da Yejin Sun Gebe to Namli and Rona Pension, Sanje Drubarai Show. Sanje Chedon Soji Shunamla, Janjo Bordo Dani Japson Chen, Da Yejin Sun Gebe to Namli and Rona Pension, Sanje Drubarai Show. Sanje Chedon Soji Shunamla, Janjo Bordo Dani Japson Chen, Da Yejin Sun Gebe to Rola Pension, Sanje Drubarai Show. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until I attain enlightenment. Through merit of practicing generosity and so on, may I attain Buddhahood for all the sentient beings. Since she knew Namla Charles, no. Okay. Well, also, I think we are on the verse number 19, right? Okay. So as 18 and 19 goes together, so let's read from 18 and 19 together once again. Let me read that in Tibetan first. Dangbu shatang bongwadang Dishin Simbu Kang Yuruba Tejang Zumbe Topjena Chanju Togwa Lame Topsa Dada Rigi Miri Diela Panda Nebang or Shebe Chanju Jeva Madama Dagi Chanju Jimmy Tos 18 and 19 please.
If they develop this their exertion, even those who are flies, mosquitoes, bees, and insects will win the unsurpassable awakening, which is so hard to find. It will be so if I do not forsake the Bodhisattva's way of life. Why should someone like myself, who has been born in the human race, not attain awakening, since I am able to recognize what is beneficial and what is of harm?
Okay. That's subject, did it to what another? Zumbe top Gena, Chanju Tober Never Samba Sage. Tadilla. Cage should have that subject the Quran input of the Ridua. The subject under the Soman machine. Kadeji Zunju top Giju Yabina. Any Chanju Tobiadi. Any Penatangbu de Chashavana, the verse number 18 the Chashavena. Any Jig Dumbuda. Any Jiggy Busin. Any Jiggy country Jimby Inaya. Any Tada Tamjelia. Any Junju Tobi Giju Yavina, Consolet Chanju Tobi Yorede, Coranzolia Yabadi, any Jiggy Arzore Chanju Tobia di Yabarede, in a Tobi Jimabi in some party race. The little bit to Tambodella. Taniba delia Dade Dada Riki Mirikelas Churgudi. Ranzo of Chashavena, Namju the Dembres. Namju the Dembadigi, Sanji you go on to your race, Cheche, Digi, Chibut Simji Mayimba. Any pendant never Moshevis, but Digum Zechimure. Digum Zen the Tranche, pendant never Moshin, Namju the Yobienza, and Digan la Chanju Jeba the Madanas. Chanju Jeba the Pamadana. Any 아주 정주 토고 말했어요. 좀좀 셔바 가게요 말했어. 정주 토그랬어. 정주 토비야 될야 차진이로 주송체. 아니 팬더 네버 모시기도 왔어. 야 그린 도 그린 모신도 왔어. 직접. 좀좀 심벌 좀도 와야. The symbol the entos this profound so this new chertanya 된대요. 봐. 모시 베스 다 청주 저와 마다나스 어다 청주 저와 청주 셈디 종제 디파 마당 제제 아니 팬던여바디 모션시니 저저 저발이야 라바이나 산디지 고마마토비 좀지 지게요 말이 좀지 톡톡 그랬어 바디 오만데 누가 침부시부시샤 다 도르되나 가르소나 숍장 도스라나 야고요 디 숄로가 좁게다 주군이디 마란주 장디 아니 부신로 소거나 신치시 아니 가르소 그래 고주 주주 매베 손럽지 산제 유고마 토비에 네버디 요르데 도 스테디 유요 말이스 가르제는서나 랍제디 오마데 마란주리아 아니 팬다 너시 시럽 레니 넘버 집이 시럽 주죠 디기 아니 청주도 모션 붙여 봐 디기 청주 모션 붙여 그래서 청주 모션이 아니 청주 그 저바도 마당 보이나 아니 청주 마토비 그 좀선 싸워니는 요 말이 청주 톱 권예 신발을 했어야지 디 줄고버디 저바도 이제 처음으로 어디 직도 난다
and so hang on one second. And so if we sort of look at the kind of structural outline of the text, what's called the subject in Tibetan, there's 4 outlines in this particular section of the text, and this is about this is the contemplation that if we generate or give rise to the power of joyous effort, then it's possible for us to attain the fully enlightened state. So that's the structural, the sort of textual outline which covers verses 18 and 19. And so what it's what it's sort of saying to us is that with the power of joyous effort, these verses are saying to us, with the power of joyous effort, it's completely possible for us to attain the fully enlightened state. So if we break these 2 verses down, then verse 18 is sort of saying that, you know, the flies and the insects, all of these are able to you know, have the potential to be able to attain the fully enlightened state if joyous effort is given rise to. These all of these if they of course in these kind of creatures the power of joyous effort is missing at the moment, but if these creatures were able to develop that kind of joyous effort, then even from that condition they would be able to proceed to the complete state of enlightenment. Now what verse 19 does is add on, is more talking to our condition. So here we have been born as human, and we have this, you know, discriminating mind, the mind that's able to discriminate between you know, is able to discriminate between what is beneficial and what is harmful, both to ourselves and others. And then it sort of says to us, well, if you don't, so he gives us kind of like this, it's kind of giving us like a sequence of reasons why we really have no excuse, in the sense that we have this discriminating mind which is able to differentiate between what is harmful and what is beneficial. And so there's no reason that we would not engage, we would not take the path of actions and conduct related to attaining the fully enlightened state. And so we actually can't bring any reason why we're not able to attain the enlightened state. So it's sort of the first reason is very simple. It says to us that, you know, we have this discriminating wisdom which is able to understand what is good and bad, but also is also able to understand you know, what is we have that discriminating wisdom, but this is a very simple reason on the surface of it, that we're able to discriminate between good and bad. Looks like a very simple reason, but actually it's a very profound, and very it has a power to it. Despite its look of simplicity, it has a very profound meaning behind it. And so then it says, if you don't engage in the actions, then so what it's saying to us, you can attain the enlightened state because you have this discriminating wisdom, particularly the undiscriminating wisdom that understands what it means, what enlightenment means, what the conduct that leads to enlightenment means. And therefore, there's absolutely no reason. You can't bring a reason why you're not able to attain enlightenment, because you have this discriminating wisdom and you understand what are the positive and negative actions. And therefore, and so in this sense, the insects and the the simple creatures don't have that discrimination, so they kind of have an excuse. But we're not like them. We have no excuse of being discouraged to feel that we can't attain enlightenment, because we know the difference between positive and negative, and what the path to enlightenment is. So we should engage in the actions that lead to that state.
Okay. Now, so the verse number 19 is very important. Here, as it says, we have a special brain, that human brain, very special. So what that specially is differentiate between the not just like nearsighted, far-sighted. So for long term, we think for a bigger goal of what we can achieve. So this is the difference between our intelligence between the human and the animal. So now here Shantideva is reminding us again that once we use our knowledge towards to get the liberation, so that we don't need to suffer anymore. And then not only that, so to liberate the self-cherishing mind, and then make yourself fully kind of contributing yourself to others, so that so-called my happiness, that also, once we have a mind in our mind thinking that others' happiness is also my happiness, as a kind mother will always say, if my children are happy, then I am happy. If they are suffering, I am also suffering. So similar like this. So that's the we are talking about that kind of changjuk, that the verse number the in 19, the line number in Tibetan it's 3, the third one. So what we do, we have failed so many times. That's what I'm saying. Now it's saying we should gain very special joyous effort, that we will never let the commitment towards the full fully enlightenment, that we will never let it go for others and for yourself. So please keep this in your mind. Mostly what we say is fully enlightenment for others. Then we always forget to say for myself. Then that's why we are not doing very well. So once you see that your whatever you are doing, practicing for others is also your own responsibility, your own benefit, then nobody can stop you from doing this. So for that reason, kind Shantideva is telling us that if we not let go that well-being for others, wish to
Yes.
fulfill others,
fulfill others' wishes.
other wishes, so that I will never let go. So for that, each and every time, joy, that kind of joy, effort will flow. But where is that kind of joy? We haven't seen this benefit enough. Once you see the benefits very clearly, then nobody can stop you from not doing this. For an example, you cannot stop children from eating candy, because they see the benefit, they feel the joy inside. So even they know that it is bad for their teeth, they will never listen. So the children has their own kind of right. Maybe it's wrong, maybe, but it's their right to fight for their candy. So for us, we have to see the benefit. So that's why Shantideva, first chapter, he choose the particularly chapter which called the benefits of the bodhicitta. So then once we see this kind of thing, then each and every day we try to think the benefits sincerely, not just saying it. Saying it, we have said so many times, but we never felt it with it. So bring that into a kind of practice. That means to know it, to know this very well. And then we will come to the place that we will feel like, wish I will have this kind of mind, wish I can have this kind of, achieve this kind of mind. So then as normally we say, the purpose of my life is, for that reason, I feel like why I'm born in this world, why I got this environment with the teachers, with the great teachings by Buddha Shakyamuni in front of me. So now I see the purpose. Then automatically you will answer yourself. Nobody has to tell you do this. So this line, it is such a great reminder for us. And it says, if not let go this mind, then there is no 디가사 다기 전주 찜이 톱세야디 직접 타마디 가르치는 도구 말에 따디 아주 심슈 차대가라 디 튜버디 디기 튜버들 내 아버지 탭사르 봐 다기 전주 찜이 톱세.
So in the last line, it's sort of it says dagi chanchu chimetom. Why is it that I couldn't attain what reason could it be that I can't attain the enlightenment? That's how it's sort of I don't think it's super clear in English. In Stephen Batchelor's translation it's not very clear, but it's like it says chanchu chupa matana, if you don't engage in the conduct and practices of the Bodhisattva's way of life. Kasi? Oh, chanchu chupa matanas, daki chanchu jim.
No, matana, daki chanchu jim tops. Karijin toto kresor.
Yeah. So if you do, so I think it means if you do engage in the practices of the Bodhisattva way of life, there's absolutely no reason why you cannot attain the fully enlightened state. So it's a kind of reflexive question that Shantideva is asking us to come up with our own answer as to why we can't attain the fully enlightened state. It's like a question like that to us that we have to answer ourselves.
Yeah. So sometimes mind goes down. You feel like, well, I cannot do it. It's so hard. Or maybe I cannot attain bodhicitta this life. Or maybe I cannot get fully enlightened in this life. So then this is the real antidote. So that you are letting this bodhicitta go away. So if you don't let this go away, that means strongly holding it with the reason and with the faith and with the joy. And then nobody yourself also nobody and top on that yourself has no kind of a reason that we couldn't say, oh, there's no way I couldn't get this bodhicitta. So this is really important, I think.
Rinpoche, not this truth. Sorry, I made a mistake. It's not Ajantichapa Matamba. It means if I don't forsake the activities of the Bodhisattva's way of life. So if I do engage in them, I had said it the wrong way around. I had said if you don't engage in the Bodhisattva's way of life, so it doesn't make sense that way. So it means that if you do not forsake the Bodhisattva's way of life, then what reason could there be that someone like myself could not attain the fully enlightened state? That's the question that Shantideva is putting to us. Sorry, I got that wrong.
Oh, that's 저기 전주찜이 도사 다디 줄구디 디바치 와 다테네 전주 두가와라 년주 어디다 들으셔 다 니슈딘다 웬디 간라 라소바 땅그 다네 직셔나 지당 영화 마제버 몽베다네 지버 세 and then 21 강 깨바 제바 참에도 깨바 제바 참에도 렌장 토마를 제바다 우다 세다 시귤기 전주 토벌 민주로스 20 and 21 please.
Nevertheless, it frightens me to think that I may have to give away my arms and legs without discriminating between what is heavy and what is light. I am reduced to fear through confusion. For over countless myriads of eons, I have been cut, stabbed, burned, and flayed alive innumerable times, but I have not awakened.
This part is a little bit scary. Okay. That's true, actually. Daniel destroyed. 주시나. 영나 제고 몸배탄이 지고리스. 다 전란조 전주 주비 갑이야. 아니 직관이 먹고 주는 거지. 깨워 먹고 줄래 거지. 다 깨워 먹을래 거를 빼나다 지게 세대를 남상 톱세야 되게 지게 나게 로나 신지지 될라 이제 요 말에. 대인도 잠배 말한주 산지주 고만 톱당 그 좀바디 대야타 가디가디 빠르가디 빠르섬가디 부더이 소하 시제도 승바지는 로고요. 대는 바지는 로도 잠배 아니 가두인의 밀류견냐는 게 인세디 전주스면 뭐나 말이야. 다 전주스면 뭐람디 가르에서는 된다 제사님아 겨워 빈두기 남타나를 여번나 신 제제 아니 지기 거발의 심진기 대여비나 대랑 얘기 된 거할체에 다가라는 개발lem을 쇼스지 뭐놈 로고도 다티네문에 전에 도대 계산을 써보다 건주를 나로다 지난도 제다 좀된 되게 아니 배지 깨어먹고 지기 심진기 지기 그래서 그래 류딩 시에지 안 대다 탐지 심진 된시고 보시지도 내는 봐 어떤 저기 전다 친구들 안 줘야 제고는 디인도 전병 안 줘. 그뒤에 다 달래 밀류 톱지 밀류 짠짠네 지 밀류에 뿌 타고 짠짠네 지 상제 고만 토세디 또 지나서 한번 채타고요. 다기 약쇼의 뭐놈난 뭐놈 약쇼의 거잖아. 다 심진 그 된시 보시기 저도 다디 아니 지게 얘기다 류가 이숨데 상제를 표비 인세는 심진의 표비 다 다디 인도 잠베 거할에 깨발려 고추나 아다가 깨왔네 주조이 다이네 깨와데 되매 버지다 트라로 버지 만들어쇼 샤디 미션베 세베 이네레 뚜베 이네레 아니 가르체베 이네레 트라 만들어버지 표정어들이 야 편터버지 빼나 땅물 유진스야 된다시 땅물 유진기 지난주에 디 고용아 산지 좀 된디 이 지금 지글 가서 그래 제세지로 통 치료를 되게 가서 헌팅 손으로 배도 다가 아마 깜부치 배 아니 보고 망보 아니 가서 그래 시도지 칼라 말합시 아니 다게 아마디 배신 시차베 이리 보고 같이 아니 세제 아니 배 투배 교제 아니 좀 되게 라니 아니 배 신지게 구소를 도스 배 닝지 침배 군에 랑데 아니 배 수수수고디 봐 또나지 아니 디 땅아들이야 집어땅배 루규지 기나서 권용아 어디 나 들은 거서 바율이야 땅물 루진스 제제 양고 내요와 어 대주 딱 납자 가르던 거요 스텝이나 샤도비아 개침부를 했어요 그요 말에 안에 지금 소소수고 또 제지 뭐 땅세 개침 말이스 이내 샘쟁기 된 제배 깔아야 안에 다지게 닝지 군에는 담면다 제 용거 다디 먼저 여기 전주 저벌 인디 칼레 제거다 시제 삼록 semnalola anyhow 가르쳐고래 개월 쪼세 매버치지 남사 디 컨디 제요 디양 예 제투사 말에 삼베이는 아니 삼로야 보지 당제 단다 특제디 가르쳐 것도 쓰나 단다 특제 단다 21 你去这这个思维呢给我上面多么多两张多么的结果的的色当색육이 전주 도움이 단다보다 가리 제바도 상황 아주 이게 빼다 소선 되는 미기 세요를 또 요를 아니 배지게 소소수고로 원에 땅 요를 아니 도년 소소한 게 소소를 두고 땅만 보용 차버렸어 얘네 디게게 가서 전주 투바를 가 개편 토마스마스 그봐 단다 봐도 땅 아주 이게 수고되다 지금 강바다 라왕 고세야 장음해 봐다 지게 집어 땅 차버리 집어 땅님 전에를 맞추는 땅 차버리 얘네 디게 된다시 볼게요. 그게 중민도 땅원에 전에 다른 전주주 고방되기 로스를 샤지 상제주 고방의 셈나로 딩네 샤지 아니 말한 저기 딘데기 가르쳐 그래 류지바 땅마다 아니 룽아 예수는 셈쟁이 된다 또 쓰지 땅주 충분히는 다 딜레니 깨와 상하지 거하여랬어요. 대도 같은 나는 디야고도 디치나 니얼 디주다 한테시 데스 주자.
And so in verses 20 and 21, it sort of talks about, so I mean, firstly, in relation to these verses, I think I should also explain something about the, first of all, there's no way to, only in the tantric tradition is there a way in which the fully enlightened state can be completely, attained extremely quickly. But in general, the fully enlightened state is going to, as is mentioned in the verses here, is going to have to be attained over many, it's going to take many lifetimes in order to attain the fully enlightened state. And so, as it says in Tayata Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Buddhisoho, so it talks about attaining the fully enlightened state in a series of paths or stages, and we shouldn't think, often we're prone to thinking, right, from now on until I attain the fully enlightened state, I'm going to be born in each and every life in a sort of precious human rebirth, and that'll be the way to do it. But this is there's a little bit sort of something wrong with this way of thinking. And much better to think of the way that because the first Dalai Lama, the first Dalai Lama, Geten Drup, in one of his prayers, where he says, wherever there is in the samsaric world, wherever there is a purpose, the welfare of others to be engaged in, and a purpose to a place or a sort of purpose for others' welfare and being wellness, then may I be born there. And also you see this many of these similar quotations in the Kangir and texts such as the Sutra of the Fortunate Eon, where it talks about this kind of way and taking eons and eons to attain enlightenment, as it here in Kase, in the first line of verse 21, where it said, so verse 21. So so we should think of, we should think only for the purpose of being reborn for the welfare of other sentient beings, and not just always attaining a kind of precious or perfect human rebirth. And the sense that we work on, really dedicating ourselves to the welfare and purpose of other sentient beings, and offering, just as we would offer up to the Buddha our 3 doors of the activities of body, speech, and mind, so we should also, exactly like that, we should offer those to the sentient beings as well. And another aspect of that is to make sure that the sort of prayer or the way of thinking that goes with that is to think that also, may I never be born in a life which is kind of wasted or has no meaning in it, but always in a life which is of benefit and having meaning. So that's very important. And we see this in the previous life story of the Buddha, where connected with this is called, what's it called? Dhamma, the nature Buddhi. Dhamma. I don't know I'm sorry, I don't know the sort of the name of it, but it's a pilgrimage site where in a previous life the Buddha was out from his palace hunting, and there was a tigress with five baby tigers, and she had struggled to attain any kind of food in the forest, and the Buddha was overcome with sort of not remorse, but sort of great feeling of compassion and regret that this poor tigress and her cubs had been unable to feed. And so he took I think it's like he took a branch, I think it is a part of a tree, and cut up his body and fed it to the tigress and the 5 baby tigers. And so this is become a great pilgrimage site as a kind of a symbol of that act. So we're not saying that it's immediately necessary to be cutting up our bodies to do this kind of thing, but there is we should have that, bring that compassion bring the compassion for the sentient beings into all of our activities. And we should be aware, aware not to fall into the sort of state of thinking that our enlightenment is just so difficult to attain, and and having a kind of lack of the joyous effort to engage in virtue and the path to enlightenment. Verse 21 sort of tells us, that so it says, for over countless myriads of eons I have been cut, stabbed, burned, and flayed alive innumerable times, but now I have not awakened. So whether we wished or we sort of in control of or wished for these things or not, or whether they were caused by ourselves or whether other people did them to us, there are many terrible sufferings of, in this is related to our kind of physical body that we have, and we've also probably created not many physical problems for ourselves, as well as these terrible things that others have done to us. And in a sense, they've been of no benefit, because no benefit is accrued from these, that we have not awakened. And so deep in our hearts, we should keep the awareness and the kind of focus of the enlightened state, and have that sense of where we're continually aware of offering the 3 doors, our physical actions, our verbal actions, and our kind of and our positive mental thoughts, offering them up and kind of focused and dedicated towards the enlightened state.
So to complete the story, the Buddha's lifetime story that I shared about the Buddha and the tigress and the cup, the 5 cups, right? Cups.
Tiger cups, yeah.
So, so many people have opinion. Isn't it more like such a negative to sacrifice yourself?
Yes, sacrifice yourself.
So this in this state, it is we should measure this type of thing when our compassion becomes so strong that it has the great compassion. When somebody has a great compassion, then with this kind of motivation and without any kind of clinging, I call this kind of compassion with the non-duality.
Yeah, because nimegi, non-dual sort of wisdom as well.
Non-dual.
With
제장가 말하는지 딘제기 따지게 루이지 바탕 디조디 닝지 첨부 꾸네랑 라바도 닝지 첨부 꾸네랑 랑세야디 아니 셴리야 타직도 배 펜베 삼바테 마도지 nga 가르쳐 두고데 아니 디가 베나지 딘데 직주베까베야 직 수고래야 차나 차야 수고 차야도 저거 열데이나 셈나로야 디 더그리 치닝게 로딜이야 누가 가게 요마시 셴 코랑 삼보코 뉴점베 니들 가르치고서는 니능 눕세 다니죠 다지단데 니능 눕도 말해 이나야 딜이야 땅 아주 배 치기 삼로 망고 매야 인상 콜레베 타직도 비게 마도 삼로 매야 되는데 안 딘데지기 자주선배 줘봐 될라 아니 맞저기 제수이랑 제고야지 그러봐 다디 맞주디 디마레 가르소는 마란저기 저걸 마셔지 에드발이야 직제도 선을 제베나 맞저 셈나로야 남도 망고요리 패버는 여비신 네가 쳐요 다잖아 단디 좀된디 디부디 가르쳐 버렸으나 다 패버기 디부디 가르쳤으나 단다 땅물 류진기 땅아디 몽발이야 좀된디기 아니 코로나 대상보 와라나실리아 최고로 당부 코로나 잠베니 코로나 대상부디 어디 좀된디기 르규송도 아니 가 땅물 류진의 도시지 류진바 땅베가려야 아주 도시 전자와 중벌에서 좀된디 넘버서 상계베가려 디 상계선의 와라나실리아 최고고베가 디 랍자는 것도 봐 예상 어디다 어디 가란 저기 신야디 개침부레스 어디 다디 참자랍딘다.
So just to sort of add to all of what I've said there, to kind of augment what I've just said there a little bit, so that when we're talking about these kind of practices where we are, the sort of cutting in the giving away of our kind of our physical body, and these kind of practices, as I said before, rely, you have to be underpinned by a great compassion itself, and then there's a sort of sense in which, with that, there's a sense in which the mind is focused kind of single-pointedly on the kind of welfare of the other beings, and in the process of that, although you'd have to argue that there still be some kind of physical pain accrued that would occur during the action, but it's almost like I'm not saying it is the same thing. But it's almost like where states of mind where the dualistic appearances kind of recede or dissolve, and there's it's something where it's almost something like where there's really there's really no sense of the kind of egoistic self, the one in control of all of our sort of aggregates. There's no sense of kind of the owner, and just as when the dualistic appearance is dissolved. Now, of course, it's not exactly that kind of mind. Those are different states of mind. But then, and then with these kind of states in mind, if you engage in the bodhisattva, the deeds of the bodhisattva, the conduct of the bodhisattva. But of course, for ordinary people like ourselves, then doing these kind of practices, even with some kind of compassion, is much more likely to cause greater harm and good. And of course, the last part of the story, which is very important to combine to the Dhamma Luchin, where the pilgrimage site where the Buddha gave his body to the tigress, is that in the future lives, when the Buddha came to the Bodh Gaya and attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, and the 5 tiger cubs were, as a result of that tremendously powerful action of the Bodhisattva, the 5 tiger cubs.
I remember it's not 5 cubs, it's 4 cubs and the mother, including 5. Now that's coming back.
Yes. So the 5 of them, the mother and the 4 cubs, were born as the principal disciples when the Buddha attained enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, and then traveled to Varanasi, and where he first turned the first turning of the Dharma wheel of the 4 Noble Truths, and they were the principal disciples of that teaching. So this, here you can see the incredible result that happened from that great deed of great compassion from the Buddha in his previous life.
Okay, so before I forget, then I wanted to share this Buddha story is far away. So yeah, now I have something a little bit fresh. 10 years ago, I remember it. One instant happened right after His Holiness teaching. There was a monk. I think he's from Kirti Monastery. I remember him wearing a yellow robe. So whether it's Namgyatazan or Kirti, I think it's Kirti Monastery here in Dharamsala. So what happened was, it's not crowded like right now Megloganj is at that time. So that time, right after the teaching, the monks are coming from the teaching, and then a taxi was going quite fast, and then a monk was crossing, and then that Kirti monk was crossing, and then the taxi ran into himself where?
Into the one.
Then monk was fallen aside, and then everybody was so worried about the monk. But the monk just stood up and went to the taxi and said to the driver, did I did anything wrong? Your car is good. How are you? He asked the question first to that taxi driver. So then taxi driver has nothing to say actually. So that was like he was not faking it. He was he forgot about his pain and what happened was, and then the anger, no room for him on that time. So he was fully compassionate towards that person. So maybe later, maybe maybe he will see his bruise and he will feel the pain. But first, in his the mind, it comes the taxi and the taxi driver. So he was like a hero, become a hero of the Megokanj for a while. So that I wanted to share. Okay, that didn't teaching that. 디다냠도 제가 책도 제장 ran 쪽이 다 단답하도 이 지금 류이나랑 아이네리 이네리 아니 지금 단답하도 ran 쪽이 지금 단다 친구지 루베체도 배주 할람 땅만이 무슨 로치래 땅 위에 거쳐요 말까 전서는 전주 땅샤요 전주 류 땅 인자 내가 선바상부 도스게 매차 전주 류 땅 인자 아니 가지 소소 류가 이숨 배주 고발 당비네디 수순 대배 초당 아니 등진기 왕도 로지 아니 그런 쪽에 배주 야부지를 전혀요 말에 세상에 겨울을 미치게 팅지 주주급의 디급의 임부여 세월한 친구들 종야 땡땡송 세상 알아서 아니 차 지게 몰람다 되게 잡을까로 제주스면 너무 쉬울까로 있는지 아니 상대 초점을 덤베거든 인지 미지 라고니 테모도 좀 잘고 그랬어 아니 가르치는스나 다 단답하던 거는 저기 라고도 배주 야가지고 개땅 요만은 밀 자르자도 그슈 한 번씩 왔다 라고 되기 다 지금 누가 다 야제 누가 전에 전대 다 단행 오늘 전에 선바상부 투지 제주 중보디 오늘 전에 라마디 그 라마다 아니 좀 된디 거리 섬치 라고니디 독스 체원도 전에 다른 거는 라고델을 그거 야부지 제비선으로 차도 왔어. 단답하도 두자자냐지 콜레 그거 야부지 제인 삼상도 지금 초와지 끼기도 왔어. 제장 라고니 태문자 쇼왔어. 드득간 들리시 나서. 때 다가라로 봐. 공디 주주나라 다가라도 봐. 니슈 저직들 뺏세우 된 것도 봐. 니슈 저지디 니슈디 이가자 니슈 저지디 니슈디 렌차로도 봐. 어디 빼야 그랬어. 다디 이게 지란조 아니 양내 양도 공부시 쉐토는 야고도
And so in relation also to this these two verses here where 21 is actually a kind of an answer to the a kind of the sort of doubt that's raised in verse 20 is answered in verse 21 and so you know, and it's mentioned here how, you know, the way that we've used our physical, our verbal, and our physical and verbal and actions and our mental kind of states. I don't think that we've probably really used them for, you know, really great purpose. We, you know, there are times when we're sort of inspired a little bit, and we can sort of feel it's easy to give rise to a kind of good heart, a warm and good heart, but it's very easy for us to sort of give up on the enlightened state at some point. And you know, really, when we look at things, the three doors of body, speech, and mind have more or less been used in the service of our own kind of desires, or in maybe more subtly in the service of the self-grasping mind. And you know, so this, you know, being honest, that's how we are. So we don't really hold that kind of enlightenment in that way. And there's a sort of something I remember when I think His Holiness was teaching Shantideva. I can't remember clearly about that, but I think he was bestowing the Bodhisattva vows, and he said something about how, you know, when we you know, taking the vows or engage in those practices of taking the vows, we should join our hands together. And why we should, you know, why should we join our hands together? Because in the sense of a sort of you know, position of a kind of positive prayer or something. But usually, actually, our hands have been used for all kinds of other actions, including fighting, getting stubborn and getting stubborn and awkward with people and fighting, or all these kind of things. And so it seemed like a very good, and again, so so even if it's for a short time to give rise to the good heart, at least if we join our hands together in a sort of way of thinking about the good heart and stuff, then this is a positive thing. And in verse 21, what it's saying to us is that, this, what I've just said here, we've for countless eons, we've used our body, speech, and mind for all kinds of things, but we haven't awakened. So this is so verse 21 is an answer to verse 20, and we should think about this again and again. So contemplate the connection between these two and what it's saying again and again.
Okay, so we stop here today. Simon is not feeling very well. He's coughing. And I'm feeling a little bit better for now. So yeah, so hopefully see you next Friday. And please take care of your health. And yeah, dedication, please.
Sure, Rinpoche. Having thoroughly investigated in accord with all that I've heard day and night through the four reasonings, mind born of reflection on these topics of contemplation, may this discernment sever all doubts. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the grounds and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. I fully dedicate all these virtues to be able to train just like the hero Manjushri who knows reality, and just like Samandabhadra as well. I fully dedicate all my roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the gone beyond victorious ones of the 3 times in order to have good conduct. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or one spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid.
Well, so thank you, everyone. Please take care.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Rinpoche.